Welcome to this guided practice session presented by the Contemplative Studies Centre at the University of Melbourne. My name is Nick Bowles and I'm a PhD candidate at the centre. We respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the unceded land on which we work, learn and live, the Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung and Bunurong peoples. We pay respects to elders past, present and future, and to any Indigenous people present here today. I also want to remind all participants that your well-being is our highest concern, and that by joining this session today, you do so in compliance with the CSC terms and conditions as you indicated when registering online. Please see the chat for more information, and if you are unwilling or unable to comply with the CSC terms and conditions, we respectfully ask that you please leave the session now. We're delighted to welcome Robyn Gison to facilitate this guided insight meditation series. Robyn has been practicing and studying meditation for 30 years, predominantly in the Mahasi lineage of Theravada Buddhism. Teaching since 2016, Robyn's approach brings together the radical teachings of freedom through embodied presence that the Buddha taught, deep ecology and other nature-based practices, and creative expression, allowing for inquiry into what it means to live a full and just human life on this earth, and how to face the challenges of our current times with courage and integrity. This introductory session aims to cover the key concepts in the insight tradition. This session will be recorded, but subsequent sessions won't be. If you have any questions, comments, or reflections, please place them in the Q&A at any point during the session, and we'll address as many as possible towards the end. Welcome, Robyn.
Thank you, Nick. And I'd like to thank the Contemplative Study Centre for hosting these sessions. And welcome everyone. Thank you for carving out time from your daily life to be here with this Wisdom of the Body series that I'll be guiding you through these next 4 weeks. So to start today, as Nick said, this is a little bit of an introduction session. And I'd like to start by just giving a very brief overview of the insight meditation tradition that I've been practicing in and teach in. And then I'll give an introduction to this theme of the wisdom of the body before we do some practice to finish the session today. So insight meditation, what is it? It has its origins in a Southeast Asian Theravadan Buddhism. And what we practice in Australia today originates from two main lineages. So the Thai forest tradition and the Burmese Mahasi lineage, which I've predominantly practiced in and teach in now. So the insight movement, or vipassana, which means to see clearly, this is what insight is translated from. The movement was cultivated for lay people rather than monastics in Burma at the turn of the 20th century. So in this sense, it's a modern movement, and it's been taken up strongly in the West over the last decades because of its emphasis on practice rather than on ritual, and its largely secular nature. So the term insight meditation has two meanings. It's a meditation method or range of methods, and it's also this modern form of Buddhism that's constantly evolving depending on the cultural and social conditions of where it's practiced. And it's founded on the Buddha's original teachings on ethics, meditation, and wisdom. And like all other Buddhist traditions, it has as its goal liberation of the heart-mind, this realization of nibbana, freedom from all suffering. So to this end, while insight meditation utilizes, if you like, both ends of the spectrum of meditation practice, which is serenity or concentration practices at one end, of the spectrum, and vipassana or insight methods of meditation at the other end. The focus in the insight meditation tradition is on insight. So insight is central. So in insight meditation, we use concentration for the purposes of insight as a way to sort of deconstruct and see through the delusions of the mind that separate us from being intimate with life. And we'll be exploring this a little bit as we go through the course. And the method that we use to chip away at these delusions is satipatthana. So these 4 ways of establishing mindfulness through body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. And we'll be focusing quite strongly on this first foundation in this series. And the Satipatthana teachings are expounded in the Satipatthana Sutta, which is probably the most comprehensive meditation method given in the Pali Canon. These extant teachings that are attributed to the Buddha himself. And these teachings on Satipatthana allow us to see directly and gradually cultivate this clear seeing. So that's a little bit about the tradition. And so what about this theme, the wisdom of the body? So over these 4 weeks, we'll practice methods of settling awareness moment to moment in the physical body. And this allows us to explore our relationship with the body, which is central to the Satipatthana teachings. So the body is really central to Satipatthana practice. Usually we talk about meditation as a spiritual practice, but one of my teachers has often said this is a physical practice, and after many years of practicing, I tend to agree with him. We practice meditation with the body and through the body, and with Satipatthana practice, the body is where we start, it's where we keep coming back to, and it's actually where awakening occurs. And when we look at the Buddha's own passage to enlightenment, we see a journey there of intense relationship with the body. And some of you will know this story of the Buddha's enlightenment. I mean, firstly, he grew up in a very comfortable household of great wealth, great physical ease. And in his early 20s, or in his 20s, he turned his back on this in search of a deeper freedom. And then he engaged for several years in quite harsh ascetic practices. He tortured the body, in effect, almost to the point of death, in order to transcend it, to find peace. But the turning point, luckily for us, in his search for freedom came when he realized that denying his body nourishment and denying pleasure or natural good feeling in the body hadn't actually brought him any closer to the liberation he really believed was possible. So in turning around to face the life of the body, to deeply inhabit and honor the body as the physical vehicle, an expression of his human experience, he finally discovered a way to find peace, a freedom from all reactivity and delusion. So there's many benefits to grounding mindfulness in the body as continuously as we can. It provides a strong anchor and refuge. So in this sense, it promotes an aspect of protection, of balance and centering. So like a strong post in the ground, mindfulness immersed in the body means we don't get pulled out so easily in all directions by whatever arises at the sense doors of the ears, eyes, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And also when we're fully present in our bodies, i.e. and this is what embodiment means, we're in the present. So the body is always in the present, unlike the mind, which habitually loves, hanging out in the past or the future. So in terms of our practice, we want to inhabit the body as much of the time as possible because we want to be present as continuously as possible. So the body is really, really important in terms of this present moment awareness. And then as we remain grounded in mindfulness of the body, we cultivate a simultaneous, like a wide open mental receptivity in each moment. This means that we become more intimate with what's present, with all the senses wide open, and we're not closed off to anything. So when we're able to stay grounded in the body with whatever's arising, we're able to respond more wisely to what's arising, and then not take whatever is happening so personally. So that means we're not thrown around by what life throws at us so easily. So what we call embodiment, this mindfulness immersed in the body, deepens as we let go of our obsessions and delusions, and then we can relax with wisdom, with just this now, regardless of whether it's pleasant or painful. So before we practice, I want to mention two key terms here in relation to these teachings or practices that we'll be doing together: awareness and mindfulness. Right now, just notice that you're already aware. So you don't have to do anything to be aware. Essentially, if you're alive, you're awake, and you're breathing right now, you're aware. So awareness is already present. You don't need to make any effort to be aware. Yeah? But while awareness is present continually, mindfulness is a quality of the mind to be cultivated. So it's not here all the time. It's like we're driving and suddenly we realize we've reached our destination, yeah, and we don't remember the drive. You might have all experienced that. So we were obviously aware, otherwise we wouldn't have arrived at our destination. But when mindfulness isn't present, we go into autopilot. So mindfulness is that quality which brings us off autopilot and into remembering to be aware. Remembering to be aware that I'm already aware. And remembering to be aware of this now. So mindfulness is this aspect of awareness, of consciousness, that awares awareness. We could say it's not forgetting. Mindfulness is knowing that we're aware, in other words. So there's an active and bright quality to mindfulness, whereas awareness is passive. So this is the important presencing quality of sati, of awareness, of mindfulness, sorry, and its relationship with memory, and by extension, time. So we remember to come back from the past. You know, when the mind's in the past, we're reminiscing, thinking about something that's already happened, or we come back from the future when we're in planning mode, to the present, and we come back to being aware. Oh, that's right, this, here. So mindfulness then helps us to stay grounded in the body, in the present, which is probably its most fundamental aspect. And also, this is why it's so important in any meditative undertaking. And then a second aspect of mindfulness comes to bear in our ability to stay present, to stay aware, to keep awareness over time. So it's this presence of mind that clearly catches experience as it arises and passes. And it's this aspect of mindfulness that notes this, and this, and this, and this felt continuity of awareness. So in this sense, if we're staying aware of present moment experience, we're more likely to remember it and be able to recall it later on. And this is especially useful when we're investigating experience for the purposes of insight. And then we can experience the profound depth that mindfulness offers in seeing the fact of change, the impermanence of experience, and the patterns of relationships and cause and effect within experience as it's arising. And this is what actually opens us to insight. So today I'd like to introduce a practice of simply settling awareness in the body and using the whole body and the posture as the primary meditation object. Because I think we so easily take the body for granted. How often do we actually really inhabit the body? A lot of the time I think we're like heads on sticks, living up here, and we forget that we even have bodies. So this meditation today is about settling awareness into the whole body and feeling into the posture as we've selected today. So settling the body now into a comfortable posture, and we'll be sitting here for about 15 to 20 minutes. Noticing how you've chosen to place the body. If you're sitting, settling with the feet flat on the floor. If you're sitting in a chair, and the back upright and relaxed. You might be lying down. Just resting awareness in the body now, just as the body rests on the chair, the cushion, or other surface. You might let the eyes gently close. Or if it's more comfortable for you, keep the eyes open and let the gaze be soft and relaxed. Perhaps letting the eyes relax downwards towards the floor. And let yourself be with the body just as it is, just as you find it right now. So part of the insight meditation experience is to be with things as they are, as we find them. So sensing the whole body sitting here. You might notice the residue of busyness in sensations in the body. You might have rushed to make it to this session. Or perhaps the body feels relaxed and at ease. Settling into the body just as it is right now. Feeling the weight of the body, the pull of gravity, and feeling this weight and pull of gravity, especially in the base of the body. Feeling the solidity of the base of the body. And let this be a foundation for the posture. Perhaps feeling pressure, sensations of pressure, hardness, where the body meets the chair or cushion or other surfaces under you. Feel the uprightness, the firmness and lift of the spine. rising up through space if you're sitting. Let the head and neck be light on top of the spine. Tucking the chin in slightly to elongate through the back of the neck. And around this central frame, letting everything else relax down. All the muscles of the face, the shoulders, arms and hands, the belly, and relax through the hip joints. Taking here what the Buddha called our royal seat, a strong foundation of stability and support, the light, uprightness and relaxation of the spine, and letting everything else around this frame of support relax down, be soft, at ease. And filling the whole body now with awareness. Letting yourself be aware of the whole body resting here in the posture you've chosen. Be aware of the shape the body makes as it rests here. You might be aware of many tiny micro movements that are happening in the body as it rests in stillness and is still finding balance in each moment. And you might become aware of a whole field of sensations arising and passing away within the body as you rest here. Including movements of the breathing, sensations of tingling, perhaps vibration, pulsating, warmth, cool, becoming familiar, becoming present to the whole field of sensations within the body as they arise and pass away. Or perhaps you're not feeling much in the body right now. Perhaps there's a sense of numbness within the body. Whatever is your experience of the body right now is your experience. There's no right or wrong experience here. Trusting your own experience and being aware of what is here, what is already present to you. When you bring awareness to the body, feel free to open your eyes at any time if bringing awareness to the whole body in this way feels too intense. And notice that awareness can tend to keep shrinking. So keep expanding awareness out to include the whole body. Stretching awareness out to include the whole body. Keep getting a sense of the whole body resting here. Getting a sense of the shape the body is making in this posture. And letting thoughts come and go as they will. Thinking is what the mind does, so we don't need to push thoughts away here. Simply watching thoughts as they arise. Watch them move through the open sky of the mind, like clouds in the sky. Letting sounds likewise move through the mind. And keep shepherding awareness back to this whole sense of the body sitting here. Is it possible to rest here in the body, not needing to do anything else? Simply relax and be aware that you're already aware. Relax and be aware of this body. Noticing if there's any tension or tightness building anywhere in the body. Just notice what's here, not berating yourself or needing to change anything. Perhaps noticing that even with awareness of tension, of tightness, sometimes can bring relaxation to the body. Noticing also if there's any tension or tightness in the mind right now. And reorienting attention into the body. Feel or get a sense here of the whole body sitting, resting in this posture. So in these last few minutes of the practice here together today, feeling how the body is right now. Noticing how it feels to fill the whole body with awareness. To have a sense of the whole body sitting here in meditation. And the invitation here is to extend this awareness, this mindfulness of the whole body, mindfulness immersed in the body, out into your daily life during this week. And just notice from time to time how the body feels, how you've placed the body in space, whether you're sitting, walking, standing, lying down. These are all postures that the Buddha taught in meditation. Getting a sense this week of the body, feeling the body, sensing the body, and your awareness of it, your relationship to the body. In this very direct and simple way, which doesn't mean it's easy. So sensing now the whole body resting here in the posture you've chosen today. As we end this session together today.
Thank you, Robyn, for that wonderful practice, and hopefully everyone's feeling more grounded in their experience of being in the body. And so we can all just take a few deep breaths, and if anyone has any questions about anything that Robyn said in the preamble, or also during the guided session, now's the time, so you can put your questions into the Q&A. Just something that came up at the end of the guided practice that I was curious about, and maybe others might be similarly curious. So you mentioned about taking this practice into the remainder of our week. And during the guided session, you emphasized relaxation and stillness in the chosen posture. But obviously, as we're going about life, we get thrown into all sorts of different situations, and sometimes we're moving quickly, sometimes slowly. So just maybe if you have any thoughts on in what ways the practice differs as we're going about our life compared to how we were just practicing for the last 15 minutes.
Thanks, Nick. Good question. So yeah, with insight meditation, as I indicated at the beginning of the session, we're interested in noticing what is happening at any point in time in our experience. So in this sense, we're not looking for any particular experience. And obviously, when we're sitting in formal meditation like this, we can bring a sense of ease and relaxation into parts of the body because we're focused on doing that. But essentially, for insight purposes, we don't need to have the body be any particular way. So, in terms of mindfulness in daily life, it's all about just settling awareness into the body and noticing, I'm rushing. I'm rushing to get the train, or I can feel my body's really tense right now as I'm, eating my breakfast really fast. So it's actually about being mindful of what is already happening. So, and I often say, just as it is, just as you find it. So there's no need to change anything other than simply bring awareness to what is already happening. And in this way, we start to become more and more aware as we bring mindfulness into more of our moments, more of the moments of each of our days, that we're actually, we notice how often we're holding tension in the body, or that we're not even inhabiting the body, that we're, living in the mind, and we've completely forgotten the body. So this practice is a way of just remembering I've got a body, and to actually bring mindfulness to the body and exactly how it is, whether that's tense, tight, relaxed, open, feeling anguish and pain, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we've got a few questions that have come in. So I've got a question here about dealing with emotions that arise. So whether we follow them through or whether we just ignore them as one of the many bodily events occurring at that time. Yeah, how to work with emotions with this practice.
Thanks, Nick. Great, and a great question, a really important question. So again, when emotions arise, we acknowledge what's present. So obviously, we feel emotion in the body. So it is a physical response to an emotion that's arising. What we do is we feel it in the body as sensation. So when emotion arises, if it's appropriate at the time, and we can let that emotion come through as sensation, and that might be as there might be tears coming as part of that, or we might be feeling anger, so there's tension and tightness, heat in the body, whatever it might be. It's important to acknowledge what's present obviously in some situations in our lives, if we're at work, for example, or in other situations where we can't fully allow that, the full expression of that emotion, it's still possible for us to acknowledge what's here, what we're feeling, and just to name that. Fear, anger, hurt, and in that way we're already acknowledging what we're finding just as we find it, and we're also then able to say, if it's not appropriate in that time to express what's happening, to actually say, oh, thank you, I will come back to this later, but simply the internal acknowledgement is the important part of the mindfulness practice, so that we actually start to recognize what emotion is arising and what the physical component of that is. And also, we can also bring in, what thought streams are associated with that too. So it's building up this whole sense of the constellation of our experience, and noticing that things arise and pass away without our control, outside of our control.
Wonderful. Thanks, Robyn. I've got a few more questions here. So one is picking up on this word noticing that you've used a few times. And the guest is saying this seems a little bit paradoxical, being a kind of metacognition rather than presence itself. So maybe this is kind of getting at the distinction between awareness and mindfulness.
Yes, this is where language starts to become difficult and tricky, and we each have words that have more meaning for us in certain situations. So noticing is a word for attending to, bringing mindfulness to. So rather than saying bring mindfulness to, I use the word notice for that. So yeah, good to clarify that. And awareness is this more, the field of awareness that is already here, that is already present. And mindfulness, or noticing, is this more active presence that we bring to the field of awareness that's already present. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. So I think that's all the time we have today for questions. There's also a question here about recommended reading on some of these practices. So maybe that's something we can come back to next week. I'm sure we'll have lots of ideas on that. So thank you very much, Robyn, for facilitating today's session, and for our audience for joining us, and for all the comments and the questions in particular. So the Contemplative Studies Centre is pleased to host these sessions for our community, and your feedback means a lot to us. So please do take our survey when you have the time. And we hope to see you all again next week.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.